out here because of this culture. So nigga, nigga, I don't give a fuck. What I'm asking you as a person that just vouched for this nigga's love of the culture, cause nigga, I can tell you, nigga, Kanye West, nigga, almost got murdered for his love of the culture. Nigga, I could name other people. Nigga, you got history and times where Dr. Dre, nigga, almost got his head knocked off, nigga, over this cultural shit. Every black fucking producer and DJ, nigga, have to risk their life and safety with their equipment because of their love of this culture. I'm asking you and all the other people that give me that fucking lazy ass excuse, oh, nigga, Eminem loves the culture. He loves the culture. Okay. How? Nigga, we in a crisis. You don't think Eminem could sway some votes? That's the culture, B. How? How does he sway the culture? Because I can argue that every time Eminem pops out in relation to our culture, he's getting a check, fam. And that's what you just described as a culture vulture. Now I know the nigga can rap his motherfucking ass off.
So
I know he from the D.
Wait, okay, so hold on. So let's get off Eminem.
No.
Wait.
Answer my. Give me. I asked you a question, fam. You said it. I want you to explain to me what makes you think that he loves this culture like that.
When has he ever gone against it?
Silence is what? What's the new slogan?
When is he? Okay,
slogan?
So hold on.
What's the new slogan?
Hold on, but when has he ever gone against it? When has he ever changed what the fuck he ever was? Well, okay, let's talk about.
Okay, you asked me a question.
I
you want me to
think a
ask you a
culture
question?
vulture is.
No, hold on. Let's not change it yet because you asked me a
Go
question.
ahead.
I'm answering it. Well, I can say that certain moves that he made was kind of against the culture.
Because he did fuck Donald Trump little freestyle and shit.
But what did he say?
BET.
I don't care, but it was corny because he said that he did it on the eve of a surprise album because he thought that Donald Trump was going to respond to him, which was going to drive the sales up. That's the whole beef with him and Joe Button.
When did he say that?
That's when Joe Button got on his ass about saying it. That's the Eminem quote. He said that he was a little disappointed when he was talking this way. He was a little disappointed. That's the only person he talks to. Okay. Because shout out to the legend Sway.
I watched
Sway's
the Sway
also
shit, but
his
I don't
employee.
remember that part.
That's another thing, nigga. That's another thing. You motherfucking Eminem. Nigga, get out here and talk to some of these motherfucking hip hop platforms. Come talk to some of these black kids, nigga, that's building platforms, nigga, and getting into this culture. Every time he come out, nigga, it's organized. Nigga, even Vlad called him out and was like, he's scared to do an interview with me. You'll rap about me, but you won't sit down here and answer no questions because I'm going to ask you some real shit. I'm going to ask you about your racist past. I'm going to ask you about all these little fuck things you done to niggas in the community. Nigga, go ask MGK.
Hold on. Racist what? Because now you going to have to put me on that one. Where the fuck was that at? What did he do that was racist? I'm being dead ass. What did he do that was racist?
Bro, he was in allegedly in a whole racist rap group, and they was making racist rap songs. And Eminem has never really apologized to that for the culture. He's never. I know a lot of stands out there would be like, yo, you never heard the one song he talked about.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
I don't want you to apologize to these beautiful black queens out here.
I do remember
on a song that you're getting paid for. Nigga, say it with your motherfucking chest. Right. That's all I'm saying. So it's just, this ain't even a shit on Eminem segment. Like, nigga, shout out to the kid Shady. He can rap his ass off. All I'm saying is I get a little annoyed and vexed when niggas be like, oh, nigga, that's Eminem. He loves the culture. Nigga, I could argue Hov loves the culture. That nigga's a billionaire still rapping.
Okay.
Still helping out artists, still putting on artists.
Can I ask you a question?
I can argue that Snoop Dogg loves this culture. Okay, he don't need to rap and do music.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Is Russ a culture vulture?
No, he's not.
Is he a guest?
Yes, he is. And he was the first one to say it. I think he's even
so what makes him less of a culture vulture than Eminem?
Because every time Russ, first off, nigga, his whole team, nigga, if you've seen him, you see that. And then secondly, nigga, all Russ do.
The only nigga I know
Russ
that
do,
rap is Russ. I've never heard.
Hold on. All Russ does, because there's more things to being on a nigga's team than rapping. Sometimes that's the minuscule part. Is when you find a nigga that can rap.
But who did he put on?
What I'm saying is this, nigga. Russ is independent. And Russ, nigga, speaks that independent game. Go listen to any Russ interview. He's talking to young black kids that's getting exploited. Russ calls out labels for exploiting black kids and black culture. When have you heard Eminem calling out nigga, Royce isn't even signed to Shady.
I never said he was.
I'm just saying that's a glaring statement.
I don't think Royce was ever signed
That's a glaring statement. He was, nigga, when he was with Slaughterhouse.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm just saying, bro, like
I'm talking about
when you
independently individual. I don't
Eminem has
think
been
he
in a
was signed.
position of power to do a lot of things in this culture that he has not done because that's not the onus of him as a non-black person.
But hold on.
And he's a guest.
Did he not put on D12? Granted, he shitted on him, but did he not in the beginning? Kind of put him on. Like I give it a big.
All right, you asking me a question, I'm gonna answer it. I know what the importance of having the niggas from the hood means to stand by you. So I can argue they put him on. Because who was protecting that nigga when he was going on tour and keeping that nigga from getting robbed? Who made him believable? Dr. Dre.
Proof.
And D12 and Proof. Well, I'm just saying, bro, come on. Based on our culture values, you could make an argument that, nah, nigga, he ain't really he ain't did a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit that he hasn't done. You supposed to give T Greasy a verse. Big Sean should have been had a verse. Nigga, not
they
now.
They do got a song together, don't they?
It took time. I'm just saying.
I'm talking about like even early.
It's not hands-on in the culture is what I mean by that. You're not hands-on. You don't got your finger on the pulse of the culture. When you come out, you're still making fucking Paul McCartney and fucking Britney Spears
Detroit
references.
Versus everybody was all the Detroit. He tried. So no, he did lightweight with the Detroit
that's
versus
Big Sean.
everybody.
That's Big Sean putting on everybody, and you're gonna look real bad if you're not on that, Eminem. This is our whole city. Every spitter is on here. That's why he's on Detroit too.
Was that Sean's idea? Was the Detroit versus everybody?
That's his shit. That's the album Detroit.
That's why.
That song wasn't even. I thought they made that song just to make that song. I don't think that made the Detroit album.
But the thing is, it's all about.
So I made the argument that lately all the albums that Eminem has been making, and I think it's him trying to claim a spot. Because in my opinion, even though that nigga could rap his ass off, all the album that he was making in the beginning of his career was all like, outside of like his first album, I feel like all his other albums were all like, they were all like jokey ass albums.
The
you know
first,
what I'm saying?
I feel like
that was the lane he
first
created.
three. That was his lane.
The animation was too much.
No, in fairness, go ahead.
So I feel like now, it feels like, even though everybody feels like he can rap his ass off, he feels like he doesn't have a spot. That's why he's making all this back-to-back albums.
The game to change.
Here's the thing. I don't feel like he necessarily doesn't think he has a spot. I feel like he feels like he needs to solidify it again. I feel like he feels like he's losing grip.
But to me, he never really solidified anything.
No, but I'm talking about white rapper.
He did.
Spot.
No, he did.
White rapper spot. I'm not saying in.
I don't think it's just narrowed down to white rapper.
No, but I'm just saying on what I'm. You know what I'm saying? Like.
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
Machine Gun Kelly was kind of coming for him. He could have lost.
MGK, nice man.
The reason he responded to MGK and not Nick Cannon is because MGK could have took that spot from him. If he didn't respond to MGK, nigga, that might have been a problem.
The reason why you don't respond to Nick Cannon is because you have absolutely, positively nothing to gain from that. If Eminem comes out with a song and he just spits some verses and Nick Cannon, even if it even remotely looks like Nick Cannon may have got one up, what does that do for the battle rap king? And that's another thing. Eminem has been marketed as this nigga. You do not go at Eminem, and that's not necessarily true, bro. Like,
I don't feel like you shouldn't go at Eminem. I just feel like if you're gonna go at Eminem, you just better do your thing.
I just think that nigga.
That's all I think. I feel like he's the ultimate battle rapper.
No, because Eminem stays away from certain people.
Right.
Eminem stays away from certain people. At Joe Budden.
Do you see him going at
Joe Budden?
Do you see him go at Jadakiss?
Nigga,
no.
He knows better. Like.
No.
He knows, but it's a lot of people that he don't go at. So all I'm saying is that's pretty much that. Like
who to stand next to. I don't understand Eminem's music other than the fact that he can rap his ass off.
That's what it is. That's the whole appeal is that he says outlandish shit and he's got bars. His metaphors
when you listen to his album, they're not concurrent to me. If you listen to
he doesn't tell
like
stories.
if you listen to a Royce the 5'9" album.
Stan was a story.
No. What I mean by stories,
like it's not a storyteller.
Like that.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not an album where you're like, ooh, okay, he painted a picture with that.
He don't make music.
But that's not the type of rapper he is.
He doesn't come from the traditional African.
He'll make good stories. Like he can make good stories in a song, yes, but as far as an album that has a beginning, middle, and end, no, it's just a bunch of songs where he's fucking just destroying the song. That's it. That's really.
I mean,
if you listen
in what
to the
way?
Kamikaze album,
Destroying it in what way?
like he's just rapping his ass off, and he's just dope rapper. He's just he's killing it on lyrics.
But
and
sometimes
shit.
when you grow up in this culture,
album,
you're thirsty for more, and we have lyricists that's equally as talented lyrically,
I'm
but
not,
they have
I'm not
content.
saying that, but I'm not saying that. I'm agreeing with him that the albums don't build a huge picture. It's just a bunch of songs of him busting. That's really what it is. You
He's
know
a
what
spaz
I'm saying?
rapper. I mean,
That's why even when it comes out with songs with like Rihanna and shit like that,
They
it doesn't.
suck.
It doesn't.
That's why those
right,
songs
it
are
doesn't hit.
terrible. That's why those songs
You know
are
what I'm
terrible.
saying?
It's because that's
So-
not his lane.
It-
He
but-
makes
but
those
the thing
songs
is,
because
though,
he needs
I think that's
commercial
somewhat of an
content.
excuse because nigga, that's the knock on a cannabis. I think that's somewhat of an excuse because you can go through a whole bunch of fucking backpack.
And
Bar
I feel
spitting,
like that's a crutch.
bar
I feel
spitting
like
rappers.
going for Rihanna is kind of a crutch.
Bar spit. It is bar spitting rappers. You can go through a whole bunch of them. That every time you say, "Oh, well, they're not gonna go platinum," and they're not a rap star because they're just traditional hip hop artists and they just spit bars and they're really good at making songs. Eminem has a pop value of being a white guy standing next to Dr. Dre and was introduced to a whole generation as a legend. That's why he's able to escape. And it wasn't until these last couple of albums where he started getting some criticism, and then you seen him kind of get a little sensitive to that and go back and credit to him, he went back in the studio. I respect him for that. Like and when I ask you that question, I'm not saying that Eminem doesn't love rap.
His last two albums have been hard.
That's what I said. Like
What do you
that's
mean by
why
that?
that's
Like he was back on that first type of
Again,
Eminem
but
shit.
even- even-
Name those two
even-
albums.
He was Kamikaze and what the fuck was his name?
Because Kamikaze, I wasn't really a big fan. of
again,
I thought
even
Kamikaze was hard.
even those album, all he was doing was
Kamikaze
just
sounds
rapping
outdated.
his
That's what I
ass
mean. He's
off.
just
He
rapping.
wasn't-
I'm
he
not
didn't
saying
really-
that. I'm
See,
not
the thing
saying
is, though,
that.
it's okay to just be a rapping ass nigga.
Right.
But some Nas nigga's a rapidy ass nigga, and well, I'm not gonna compare him to Nas. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
Because Nas will put
okay,
a whole
but
story in
but the
that
thing
album.
is, Jadakiss album that just came out, nigga, he don't sound outdated.
No.
And all I'm saying is, it's
And
Eminem.
Eminem did sound outdated.
That goes to
little
my point of him
stupid
not
ass-
being a part of
that
this
little-
culture,
That
Dre.
little stupid ass fucking. I'm gonna get on him for this.
How does a Detroit nigga sound outdated, Dre?
I'm gonna get him on this. That little dumbass accent, and he said it himself. That accent was ran into the ground. That little high pitched accent, he was doing in almost every song, nigga. Like that, he got dated. He did.
So-
and
So everybody else would have got a fork stuck in them.
yeah,
And we wouldn't want
right.
to hear nothing no more.
Right. We see it all the
Right.
time. Here's the thing though. He would have never got Wimbledon without fucking Rihanna. That tour, the Monster Tour, would have never sold out Wimbledon Arena by himself. He
I
never
think
got
so.
it, but
I
he
disagree.
never got it before. Why did he never get on the tour before till he had Rihanna on the Monster Tour?
Well, I'm
He's
not.
done hella overseas.
I'm
That's
just
where
saying-
his biggest market is at.
But I'm just saying that, like, I'm not gonna say that Eminem could not sell out Wimbledon without
I'm saying he wouldn't have got it without putting her on that tour. He needed,
Okay, wait.
He needed a
I hear what
pop
you're saying.
star
No, I hear what
to
you're saying.
be on that tour to get that date.
I hear what you're saying.
An Eminem show,
You're not talking about a feature. You're talking about
No,
like her doing her
being
show.
on that tour.
Yeah, that's real.
Not
That's
the
my
feature.
baby.
That wasn't the feature because no, that Monster Tour, he wouldn't have got Wimbledon without Rihanna. They wouldn't have booked that date. Period. By himself, just the Eminem show? No. Because think about it, why has he never done it before? One of his biggest fucking crowds is in London and all that shit. That's one of his hugest crowds.
Jesus Marcus.
Right.
I bet. But I mean, I get it, bro. Yeah, shout out to them.
yeah.
So, I'm just gonna let all y'all regions of music know, from the west to the south, I guess to the northwest, I can't say the East Coast.
Just say
New
the
York
country.
is killing y'all niggas right now.
You think so?
Nick, I'll name 4 albums killing the whole
Well, hold on.
2020.
Let's just chop this up because I don't want to come off as biased at all. You know, shout out to my hometown.
No, I
No, hold on, let me chop-
Detroit
let me say
nigga
this.
love Detroit music.
Let me say
and all
this.
types
Let me
of
say
shit.
this though, to just place the conversation. When you say New York is killing it, are you speaking just New York in general? Because a lot of people they cut out the legacy acts. So if you cut out the legacy acts, you know you're getting rid of the Nas and you're getting rid of that Locks and you're getting rid of the Jadakiss album. If you don't cut out the legacy,
I'm not
acts,
fuck that. I'm saying right now, The hottest 4 albums of 2020 are from New York State.
And one last thing. Are you going sonically? Are you going numbers?
Sonically.
Okay.
To me.
Okay. I would agree then.
New York niggas are killing the game.
I would agree then. Sonically, nigga, it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
From Nas to Dave East to the Locks and to Conway's new shit.
Yeah, that shit's...
Nigga.
Yeah, that's facts.
What albums are killing them for? What region is killing them for albums?
I'm not arguing with that.
What's Conway's new shit called?
From King to God or from
God? Hold on, I'll look at it.
From
right.
God
I have
to
it on my shit right
from
now.
King to God, I think. From a king to a god.
Yep, from King to a God.
It's fire, bro. Shout out to Conway. Shout out to the whole squad.
All 4 of them albums from start to finish.
Griselda,
fire.
Nigga. They're doing their thing.
Fire.
Dave East too.
All 4 of them albums.
Dave
The
East
4 albums that
too.
I just named, start to finish, fire. Not a song on there I skip. New York is killing the fucking music game right now, and it's been a long time since New York has killed the music game.
I think it's been
a long time
since collective.
And I'm a New York motherfucking music fan.
I think it's been a long time since. Well, it's subjective, man, because a lot of like classic New York fans of that sound don't listen to the newer New York artists. So if you look at if you throw in the newer New York acts, they've been on their things. They still been doing their thing.
So
shout out to A-Boy.
To have that still New York sound to it, and shout out to fucking Hit Boy, because Hit Boy right now,
rest in peace,
nigga,
Pop,
is a motherfucking beast.
He's killing
Hit Boy is killing the game, nigga. Beat wise, hands down. Hit Boy's that dude to me right now.
Yeah, he's killing right now. He's all over the place. I like that he's finally getting his due in a way of showing his versatility. And
it's funny, all 4 of them albums I talked to got production by him.
Yeah, no, he's everywhere right now. He's everywhere. And I like that he's tuning in or just sitting down with one artist and knocking out a joint. That's a lost art in the game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats, you know, they do the mass production, but I think Hov did that with 444, and it tells. You can just listen to it, the cohesiveness.
That nigga,
it's a move. It's a move.
One line Conway said that stuff because nigga Conway hard nigga.
It's bars, man.
That nigga said, "I make Peter rob Paul to pay me, nigga." I was like, okay, nigga, talk your shit, nigga.
Hey, no, them boys.
Shout out to Conway the Machine, Westside Gun, and motherfucking Benny the Butcher, the whole Griselda crew. Y'all niggas out there killing that shit.
Griselda, nigga.
New York, y'all out there really killing that shit right now. Yeah, and I've been, like I said, I've been an East Coast music fan for life, nigga. It's always been Biggie over Pac over here, nigga. It's East Coast.
Pac is from the East Coast. Relax.
But you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Anyway.
Yeah,
no, I don't. I don't buy into
Dre
that.
always inciting some shit, man.
Yeah, bro, because I don't buy into that. Like, niggas from Harlem.
No, I'm not inciting nothing. I'm just saying.
Always been some
in the argument, who's better rapper to me, it's always been Biggie.
I feel you.
And it always will be. Pac just had more songs. That don't make you a better rapper because you made more songs. Shout out to the dead. Rest in peace to both of them. And it's not biased anymore because as a kid, I didn't really like Pac. I didn't start liking Pac till I got to an adult. The niggas got dope and don't. No, because
you have to. Sometimes you have to grow into Pac's lyrical content.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't like Pac either. I'm a Biggie nigga.
You have to experience some shit. I mean, trust me. Trust me. Best Side Brooklyn. That's my hometown. I love Big, but what I'm saying is that sometimes as you grow through experiences,
Radio Raheem, nigga, love hate, nigga, best I do or die.
Especially as a young black man growing up in these times and in past times, I think that like Pac's music starts to resonate as you grow older, as you get older and start to evaluate your circumstances and your like socioeconomic state. You lean on Pac. When you're trying to come out of it, when you're trying to figure it all out, Big is something to lean on in that instance. Like, you know what I mean? I just think that like it's corny. And I'm not speaking to you, but we've been corny for years for comparing them. You know what I mean? Just two legends, two dope MCs. There'll never be any to do it like them. Especially when you realize that we're outliving these dudes. You know what I mean? These cats was young when they got murdered. So, and for them to have that kind of lasting effect is poignant, and it just goes to show you that this culture that sometimes we take for granted, it's powerful. And now in this generation, we're seeing how lucrative and marketable and how it's easy to manifest fortunes from it. So it goes back to our earlier conversation of like when Chuck was saying like when Dyer was like, "Yo, whose power is it? Who's allowing this to happen?" You know what I'm saying? Because we got the buying power, and we have the power to like manipulate the markets, and that's what that's what we about here. Always talking shit, man. We want people to know their power, and this culture breeds it every day. Cause you just literally, man, like these cats that become legends, before they were legends, they were in the same mud we was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Getting the same bullshit we was. Like no, the same lack of opportunities and shit like that we were. So, yeah, it's just a testament of like what this culture has become. And sometimes I think we're gonna battle with it. We're gonna battle with the corporate. Okay, because it goes back to we spoke about it briefly. Travis Scott does the McDonald's shit with the Cactus Jack brand. Look, man, Travis has Nike. He has now McDonald's. When you watch the commercial, I remember a time where just off the fact of him having a doll and being on the commercial and being McDonald's, we were labeled, oh, he's a sellout, he's commercial, he can't. And I think it's really crazy that like he has this. Travis is able to still keep this kind of like credibility with his lane and cross over to major white market spaces. I don't know if Travis reached out to them or if they reached out to Travis. But what I do know, and it's a point that's already been made, is that McDonald's didn't really. We wouldn't argue that they needed Travis. So the partnering of it is something I think that we should commend, in my opinion, and just like look at it as a growth in hip hop, because like that shit used to be looked at as corny.
Nah, and the crazy thing about it is like how you mad at the next nigga for going to? I ain't mad at him for going to get that bag. McDonald's come over here talking with the always talking shit show. We gonna get that I'm gonna get that bag. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of them things where it's just like, yeah, we're dealing with racism, and that shit has never left. We're dealing with systemic issues. We're dealing with redlining, mass incarceration. But then, even with all that, the very thing that makes you vulnerable in those spaces make you lucrative over here. And I think that like as a culture, when we kind of figure that out and master it, that's when we're gonna affect more change. Though politicians have been telling us to vote for 100 years. I mean, they've been talking about the power of voting for a long time.
If you ain't registered to vote, you better get out there and fucking register.
But it has to be
for real.
It has to be more. It has to be more.
Get out in your community.
You have to be educated voters.
Motherfucking change. You know what I'm saying?
You have to be educated voters. We can't just tell people to go vote when we know that America doesn't teach Americans the government system. Not where we come from. You know what I mean? Kids get a semester of government class and then they're taught to fend in this world. Politics aren't always cool, so a lot of people aren't politically astute. They, and so that's how you get the mass voting of, okay, I guess I'm voting Democrat or Republican, and you don't hold anyone truly accountable. Educate yourself. These things are important. Know who's going to be your superintendent of the school district that your children are going to be educated by.
Because
know who's running for sheriff. Know who's running for county commissioner, et cetera, et cetera.
The Secretary of Education? She ain't shit.
Betsy DeVos.
Not at all.
Well, the thing is, shit. You're talking about a billionaire's kid,
right?
That went to elite private schools
and wants to make everything a charter school.
That's now over all public schools. So if you don't come from that experience and understand the nuances of things,
you ain't gonna know how to handle it.
What you're gonna do is say, okay, I'm rich. I'll just divvy this shit up, privatize all the schools, let my friends buy them, and then they'll fund the schools, and then kids will get better education. That's a misnomer. Every private school isn't a good school.
Because they'll have like their quota for like black kids and multicultural kids, and once they hit that, they ain't even gonna accept your kid.
Exactly. And what will happen
your kid ain't gonna get one because we already got our black person.
I think they all, property tax funding school shit is bullshit anyway. Because just the whole redlining and so on and so forth that goes on with how they divide people up and where you live and so
Well, that's
that should not decide
that
how good a school is.
that
Every
goes
school
into
should just be good. Period. Just spend the money for all the schools to be at a decent standard to teach what they need to teach and have all the resources they need.
Well, that's where the
You know,
whole socialism thing comes in, because that's what Bernie Sanders wants to do. He said, fuck what we're taxing right now. We need to tax these corporations. We need to tax Wall Street, tax these billionaires, and fucking help this education system that's failing. That was part of the whole thing, and then they're like, "Oh, he's a fucking socialist because he wants to do shit like that." What's wrong with that?
Well,
because you're constantly
even just
cutting
a Bernie.
funding to fucking school, but you got people like Bernie and Elizabeth Warren who want to fucking make
It's
this.
not even just a Bernie Elizabeth.
I'm
Warren
not that.
thing, bro.
That's
Like,
my example.
no,
Can I use my? I'm just.
yeah, no, I feel you. On
That's
that,
my
but
example. We got two people out there, and that's not to say Joe Biden and Elizabeth and Kamala ain't gonna be on some school shit, because Kamala is about fucking school reform and making these schools better and shit like that. We just got to see what happens if she gets elected
make
in office.
the teachers
None of that
better.
shit. Listen to me. None
But
of that
that's
shit
what she
matters.
wants to do.
That goes to what I'm saying about being an educated
Shit,
voter.
pay the teachers
Everybody
more.
knows the name brand candidates. None of that shit matters if you give them a bunch of Republicans in the House and in the Senate.
Right. You
None of
need
that
to go
shit matters. If you don't give them the power that they need to enact the
you need
things
to go
that they're running on.
research
Now-
and vote deeper. You need to vote your senators. You need to vote your
now
governors.
if
You
you're
need to vote
running,
every
once
piece
they get
of-
elected,
right.
once you get your party in office, what you do now is you apply pressure on your party.
And then what?
You
after
don't
that-
just
when is
throw the towel in and say, okay, well, we got a
when is
Democrat in
when is
office, and
when
now
is the vote after the
everything's good.
presidential debate? 2 years when they do Senate and the House vote.
Yeah, it's usually
years
about
after.
it's the midterm.
So the
shit.
thing you need to do is you need to research these candidates. If you vote Biden and Kamala, after that, you need to go fucking do your research on who's the House and the Senate votes going to be in these next 2 years. And that's the only way change is going to get invoked, because if you have both sides of the fucking house always fighting each other because we don't have it all,
Well,
it's not going to make much of a
It's
difference.
going to be always a debate. There's going to be that divide, but you need people of principle and people that really have. You need people that aren't sold out to the corporate dollar, and also you need participation. Like, motherfuckers could talk all they shit about all these politicians and things like that, but you could be a politician. You could run for elected office. And there's been a lot of men and women that instead of complaining about what's going on in their community, they decided, you know what? I'm going to
do
run for
something
office.
about it, right?
And those are some of the same political heroes we have that are not bending over
Your
to
mom,
corporate
for
dollars.
instance.
You know what I mean? You have people like that, and we just need another generation of people like
Right.
that. We need younger people with ideas and less biases to be like, hey,
who's the
you know what I'm
woman
saying? I
your
can
mom?
run for
Who's
this.
the woman your mom's been
I
talking
don't have that
about?
information. We'll get it. We'll get her
yeah.
information
Okay.
out on the episode
I
soon.
was saying we was gonna just
Yeah,
shout her out.
yeah, I
you
know,
what I'm
real
saying?
quick. I feel you.
But
We tried.
your mom's knows all about that.
Right.
Your mom's been part of this fucking state system, working in it and making changes as much as she can, and fucking being head of the NAACP in Reno.
Right, but
and that's a person who tried to invoke change instead of
Right.
fucking bitching about it. She's
Right.
like, I'm gonna get in this position
She's
and I'm gonna do what I can do.
She's a child of the civil rights era.
Right.
When I'm speaking to
Who
this,
never stopped being a child
when
of
I'm
the civil
speaking to
rights
this
era.
hip hop era,
You know what I'm saying?
this generation of black people that has the most young millionaires of any free generation since. Yo, what are we doing? You got a lot of young millionaire women that own several beauty salons and et cetera, and make a lot of money, pay a lot of taxes. They can run for office. You got a lot of men that own chains of clothing stores and jewelry stores and barbershops and all these other type of things. It's one thing to complain about taxes. It's one thing to complain about what someone else is doing. But a lot of these politicians, man, some of these mothers don't even be having kids.
But what you were just saying about like the music game and the millionaires, like
They deciding what your kids are gonna do.
I feel that too, because it's like you can invoke this change. It shouldn't just
Right.
be fucking T.I., Beyonce, Killer Mike, Jay-Z.
No,
it
right.
shouldn't be just this fucking handful of rappers, actors, and entertainers, and the sports the sports players, and the Shannon Sharps, and the Steve A. Smiths, and the Kaepernicks. There's so many black millionaires in just the entertainment industry that can invoke this fucking change. And there's a bunch of them who could stop acting and run for office like a bunch of these white folks do.
A lot of them are.
They are.
No, I'm not. Not that specific.
But
point.
You know what I'm saying?
But
like they could easily.
See, this
look, a fucking wrestler could almost make almost good politician.
But this is what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with your profession.
Right.
You're an American, and if you're
I don't mean like a wrestler. That's stupid as shit. I don't mean that.
There has been wrestlers that.
But Ventura wasn't dumb.
No,
he was really astute. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm getting to. It's not about your profession.
Right.
It's about your citizenship. It's about you being a proud American and wanting to further this thing called America and being educated about it. See, the thing is, we give a lot of politicians credit they don't deserve in terms of it. We assume all these cats are educated by the best universities, had the best grades, and was valedictorian, and then they ran for office. No, that's not necessarily true. You got motherfuckers that's U.S. senators because they were top flight wrestling coaches in their state and won a whole bunch of national and high school championships and used that popularity to get a Senate seat. And now they're deciding how motherfuckers are going to get their stimulus package. They're not versed in that. They're not professionals. You understand? Like, that type of shit right there matters, bro. Like, demanding more. Like, we all shit on cops and the low bar that it is to be a police officer, but what's the bar to be a U.S. senator? What's the bar to be in Congress? See, and they're cool with us pointing the finger at police, but who's giving them orders? Who do they work for?
Nobody, apparently.
They work for the very people that we put in office that act like because they put on a Black Lives Matter mask, that we're not going to remember that they have the power to strip these men and women of their budget and of their, basically their, what would be the word? What's the, I can't think of the name of, the immunity that they have. It's the immunity that really, no, they have I forgot the name of it, but there's a clause that when a police officer commits a crime, they're protected in ways that no citizen is protected. And that's why it's hard to get a police officer for murder, because they're almost assumed and presumed innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
and
that free pass badge.
So what happens is we have to attack these political systems. I hate that. You know, I've been through a lot today. My mind's a little scattered, so I don't have I can't think of the name of what I'm trying to say. But everybody that can hear my voice, man, you can look it up and you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from. Qualified immunity. Thank you, brother. We're sitting here acting like we don't have smartphones and shit like that all around us.
Like you said, though, you scatterbrained right now. You got a lot of shit going on.
I'm sitting here too, like, why is that shit skipping my mind?
Right. That shit to be on the tip of your tongue. Like, bro, I can't.
Now imagine having qualified immunity attached to any other profession. Okay, you're dying and need an emergency brain surgery. I'm one of 1,800 humans, nigga, that can do it. I come in, I do something wrong. Based on a set of rules by politicians, and now you can take my license, sue me, and incriminate me for malpractice.
Because of fucking the whole debt insurance.
Why wouldn't the motherfucker that's handling your brain aneurysm or your open heart surgery have qualified immunity? Why wouldn't they have the freedom of mind that if I make a mistake, I'm not fucked? Because they had to go perform.
It's because of the insurance companies.
Task.
It's the big pharma and the insurance companies.
But what I'm saying is this. But what I'm saying is, like, we don't even think about qualified immunity when it comes to those type of things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're supposed to be like, know your job. You're supposed to never fuck up. You're supposed to never be human.
Right.
You're supposed to be a fucking robot and get it right every single fucking time. And every situation is supposed to be exact same. You're supposed to, every situation is supposed to be.
Imagine if doctors had qualified immunity.
I just said that.
That's exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
It's like
what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like they're supposed to be perfect, but a cop can do all this dumb shit and qualified immunity.
Like, it don't even make sense. Right? Why would you give any? Why does any? Who deserves qualified fucking immunity? Why don't parents have qualified immunity? Because even a parent that birthed a child will molest a child, rape a child, kill a child, mistreat a child, beat a child.
If I spank a child in public, I could go to jail. I don't get qualified immunity because my kid's acting an ass.
So the reason why qualified immunity is fucking a moronic term is in concept is because you wouldn't even give qualified immunity to the literal maker of a human with the human that they made.
Right.
They don't even get qualified immunity. Like if there's anybody that's should be presumed to wish the best, care for this person, and always have the best intentions, even if wrong. Right. It should be mothers and fathers, right?
Exactly.
But no fucking thinking person says that's a good idea,
right?
Because we know that there's a percentage of people that that's your son, but you don't never need to be around him again. Right?
Like I said the other day, you know, the police. You know, the police will tell you how you can, or the system will tell you how you can or can't raise your child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't have qualified immunity as a mother and father.
Right, but the police can come through and shoot that same child.
But the cop that killed Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy, for playing with a toy, when called, they said it might be a toy.
Right. And
so you knew. So you came knowing that it's a possibility that this baby has a toy.
And you still, your first thought was,
and your qualified immunity. That cop is back in active duty, I believe. I mean, Mike Brown's killer was freed, like, and not freed in the sense of he was incarcerated, but freed in the sense that
fuck the police.
That he's now presumed to have not done anything wrong. Qualified immunity is a big part of this. The average American citizen doesn't even know that exists. That officer that can go rape your daughter because he's attracted to her and he's a sexual predator gets qualified immunity. When we see video footage of these officers raping these young women in the jails, they get qualified immunity still. So you just got to understand that, like, that's the most asinine idea in the world. No one should have qualified immunity of anything because everyone's qualified to do some shit.
Right.
Everybody. Like, we, in a world where we got fucking, priests and shit like that having sex with children, and we have all these type of injustices we have and pains we inflict on each other, what person in what walk of life will we all say, yeah, those people, yeah, them niggas for the Lakers, they should get qualified immunity. They should be presumed innocent, and we should assume that they did nothing wrong.
No matter what they do.
But
no matter what evidence is in our face.
Do you know what the crazy shit about it is? By law.
What is qualified immunity?
But here's the thing. By what you explained, by law, everybody should have qualified immunity. Because you're supposed to be what? Presumed innocent until proven guilty,
but that's the sales pitch.
Right, that's what I mean.
If that was the case, we wouldn't need jails.
No, exactly. That's what I mean, though. Is it doesn't work for everybody like it's supposed to, because by the definition, qualified immunity means I'm innocent until proven guilty no matter what the fuck I do.
So qualified immunity is a legal principle that grants government officials performing discretionary functions immunity from civil suits unless the plaintiff shows that the official violated clearly established statutory or constitutional rights of which a reasonable person would have known.
So think about even the wiggle room in that stance. Like, a reasonable person would have known. Now, if I hit you in the fucking head and I can argue that you were discombobulated, even if I didn't do it, are you a reasonable person?
No.
See, because they love to officer under distress. Like, they like to bring it out that this job is so stressful. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes I might have to just use lethal restraint. And it don't matter because how stressful my job is.
Is it more stressful than being in the fucking military? Is it more stressful than being a fucking firefighter? Is it more stressful than being an EMT? Is it more stressful than being a fucking doctor?
Bro, it's not It's not more stressful than being a single parent.
Absolutely not.
So I get it. It's just one of those things that we as a society and as people, just because your kids aren't getting shot down like this
doesn't mean it's not.
Doesn't mean that this is no issue. And because your kid might be one of the victims that get raped. Your kid might be one of the victims that actually is one of the white males or white females that get murdered by the cops, and they sweep it under the rug like they do all the black and brown kids. So if none of us are safe from this shit, You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If not all of us are safe, none of us are safe. Like it ain't
defund
gonna
the
work.
police. That's
So
what
so
it is.
it only doesn't apply to them. It applies to any government official.
Right.
That they deem worthy of it. Because if your ass work for the government on a lower scale, trust me,
you're going to jail.
You go rape a kid or something like that, your ass is going to jail, and you going to jail double time for making them look bad. Now, if you are a high-ranking government official,
they gonna sweep that shit under the rug.
Yeah, you might get a qualified immunity. It's no different than Roger Stone. I mean, yeah, you can say that he's getting preferential treatment, but he's just getting the treatment that was designed for him. All the king's men. Yeah, you go do all this dirt for me. You be the fall guy, and don't trip. You're never gonna see a prison cell, and by the time I get out of office, it's not even gonna be on your record. These are criminals, bro.
Because Donald Trump, on some real shit, should go right to fucking prison as soon as, if he gets voted out of office, should go to prison immediately. For all the shit that's been going on with him, he should be going to prison.
So, on that note, real quick, if for all these politicians and activists, well, not even activists because they don't have political power, but all these men and women with political and acting power that shit on Donald Trump and, oh, we got to do this, do that. Like you said, if within the first few months of the new regime taking over, that we're not hearing of charges being brought up.
Both sides.
What do we? It's time for a revolution, bro. It's time.
Exactly.
It's time to start a new party. I don't want to hear Democrat or Republican. It's time to start a new party, and I want everybody to pay attention to that. Like if they don't put this man and the men behind him under criminal prosecution immediately, then you know that they're all in this shit together. It's all a scam, and they just working us. Because how many laws has the dude broken? How many times did they try to sue Obama? Now this ain't even a Trump versus Obama type of situation. I'm just saying, we know that if they don't, they'll go after you. How many? And that's one of my problems with the Democrats, bro. It's like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, why are you not?
Why are y'all just let this cat just get away? And it makes them sound complacent.
Hold on, they did try to impeach the nigga.
But it was a lot of people argued that was a weak attempt.
Well, no, here's the thing. It wasn't a weak attempt because they did impeach him, but they weren't able to get what happened?
The Senate to go.
They weren't able to get the Senate to be able to get him up out of there. So it wasn't that he did not get impeached. It just he wasn't.
Now, if that was the Republicans, they would have went after every senator that voted nay. They would have made them household names.
But that's what the Democrats are.
Look at the way they treated the men and women during the Bill Clinton years, nigga. During
but
the whole
look what. But hold on. But look what Pelosi and AOC and all these motherfuckers are doing to the other side.
But what?
They're not. They're getting at these people. Like they're really like. In the debates and in the Senate meetings and all that.
They're not being as aggressive as if the Republicans.
Yeah. Republicans are way harder. You're right. Not at all.
They sued Obama's administration like 1,500 times, knowing they were gonna lose.
Right. Just to see if they could just get.
Just to tie him up like some shit. So when he's doing things that are counter the American people, why he ain't tied up in lawsuits? When there's thousands, when we can criminally prosecute this dude.
Has his taxes came out yet?
Come on, bro.
They've told him he has to.
Because the Democrats is weak.
Because that shit's ridiculous.
It's just those type of things, man. Like even with his sexual mishaps and all the rape cases and all that shit, like and all the things like the accusations, like they don't even go hard on those things. Like grab them by the pussies was a nice thing that he said about women. Like there's other things
that
like with all.
How was that?
How come they not? Right now he's running for re-election. I ain't heard his name tied into with Jeffrey Epstein yet.
Hey man, we talking like we forgot about the thing called white privilege, man. The one thing I want to say is,
facts.
With this
it's white privilege with Republican privilege.
The one thing I want to say with this, they better, hopefully they bring charges against them is white people stick together, man. At the end of the day, so it don't matter if you're gonna believe they're all in it together or whatever. Again, it's still a white man, and the system is set up for them. So again, even if they do try to bring charges against him, it's gonna be on some democratic shit, and how them Republicans are about this shit, So again, it's like it baffles me because I don't know how any of these people want to put their careers, their legacy, their whatever you want to call it, on the line for this dude. Like, I don't
hold on. I got a
understand
question.
it.
I got a
What do you
question.
mean
Do
put
you
their
think?
legacy on the line?
Do you
'Cause
think Bernie
they
would
write
have
the
did
history
it?
books,
Do
bro.
you think Bernie would have this nigga put in prison or
Hey,
tried
bro,
to?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to Bernie. I'm not a guy that looks at Bernie like some kind of savior. Like,
no,
bro,
I'm just
Bernie's
saying.
been here for a long time.
No, but
bro.
Bernie's just.
Put
I
him
feel
in,
like
putting
Bernie
him in
and
jail
Warren
is not. It's not.
I feel like Bernie and Warren were the
you
two
mean
best.
specifically?
Yes.
I'm not a Warren fan no more. Like, she showed her colors.
I don't even want. Listen, whoever,
No, so
even if Biden or whoever get in the office, I don't even want their focus to be about getting this nigga in jail. Like, give it to whoever's gonna work on it and focus on how to get the country.
That's how it should be.
That's
Yeah.
that's how it would go. But here's, hey, would this not be called though? As soon as the nigga Biden went into office, we see them niggas walking out with Trump in cuffs.
I mean, that's what a lot of motherfuckers.
That would be the hardest
shit.
It ain't gonna happen, but that would be the hardest shit ever, nigga.
Yeah, because they'll probably come back with, because of his age. The same shit they did with the bitch that set up Emmett Till, nigga.
Right.
Oh, because of her age,
we're not gonna prosecute.
We can't prosecute. You know, he's old and he was the president, and it looks bad on our country.
You see how the
what
justice system said
Yeah.
they can't prosecute him right now because
He's
the
a sitting
president, right?
Yeah.
They'll probably say the same shit after the nigga come out the motherfucking
No,
office.
because you can be prosecuted at that point.
Man,
you're
I'm just
not a
saying,
president.
man, they'll come up with that with whatever they need to come up with, man. I don't.
Or
I don't have
they'll
no
just
faith in any
spin
of
it
that
as
shit.
I ain't got time to worry about him. He was the past. Let him go. We over here focused on this other
I'm gonna
shit.
tell you too, bro. Like, liberal-minded people have to realize, like, be careful of the sheep. I mean, or the wolves in sheep clothing. Like, there's a lot of people that come over that are moderate type Republicans, and they get over here and they run for Democratic positions and stuff like that, and then they're Star Wars.
They turn into a fucking
They're Star Wars.
Republican
They're
while
not,
they're in there.
Oh, well, no, because of my district and all. And fuck you and your district. You know what I mean? And
Your
it's,
district's
and
probably
it's
one of the
really-
most racist districts
all of
out
this
here.
shit is kind of asinine because it's just like black and brown people, women, like-minded white people, Asians, Hispanic. I mean, come on, bro. We should all have our own party that looks more like us. That literally only deals with issues affecting us.
Hold on, we did have
the Democrats
no,
and
'cause you remember,
Republicans do shit
the
only
fucked up-
affecting them.
The fucked up part about it, you remember when we had all our own shit? What'd they do? Came and blew that shit the fuck up.
I'm talking about in today's times. What I mean by, like, that was just black segregated. I'm talking about like a multicultural
No,
force.
I'm talking about when they blew up Black Wall Street.
I know that, but that was a black city. I'm talking about, nigga, a nation.
No, I'm saying if we
a
took
party.
over a little part to start.
I'm
one
not saying
step,
that.
first
I'm
step
saying a
was something
political
like that.
party, though, Dre. I'm talking about a political party spanning all through the country of like-minded whites, women, minorities. And then out of those people, that's who our candidate is. See, the problem is we're going to a barbecue that we're not in, or luncheon, I should say, that we're not fucking invited to,
and we're not represented in.
and picking sides of who we're gonna vote to be the part, the master of the luncheon.
It's basically like this. It's basically fucking slaves going to say who's got the better master. That's what we're arguing.
I'll be that you can say that. But I'm loose with the term of slavery. I really try to be loose with comparing things to slavery.
But I just feel like that. I feel like it's
broader thing.
Who's got the better master?
My thing is this: if we all that are affected by politicians, which is every American citizen, put together a coalition of like-minded American citizens that think the same, not exactly the same, but just have mutual ideals. We don't want racism. We don't want sexism. We don't care about that. Right? We don't believe that corporations are people. So the people that we're voting for president and we're voting for Congress and we're voting for governor should be coming out of that party. Not the party that put us in slaves, not the party that wouldn't let women vote, not the party that, you know what I'm saying? Because then we wouldn't have that feeling of being tossed in the middle.
Or not the party that used to represent Democrat or Republican views and now they're Democrat.
Well, whatever views you call it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
the,
that's a whole wish-washy.
it's the musical
party
chairs.
right there.
It's the musical chairs
switched.
of the American political structure. That's what I'm speaking to. In a whole, it's just like we never had a party. So instead of empowering the Republicans or empowering the Democrats or the Libertarian Party or the Independent Party,
start our own, empower ourselves.
Get the fuck out of here. We should start our own, and then we have our own elections, and then the men and women that arrive out of those elections is who we send to Washington D.C. to compete on a national scale, and they're gonna have a strong base because they need us to get elected. Right. And there's more, I would say, well-to-do, liberal-minded white people in today's American society that would lean towards that type of party that will skew the numbers. So it's not like it's all blacks and brown people versus all white people. It would never be that. We would have the more diverse party. We would have the most numbers. Our parties would breed the candidates.
Right.
And now these corporations, these international banking cartels and shit like that run our nation, they will be forced to get out. These oligarchs from Russia, all these motherfuckers, they wouldn't have the political power because you don't have power with us. You have power with the wealthy, elite white men and women that you have summoned power with in closed doors behind our back. That's the simple breakdown of the best way to liberate most Americans. But we get caught up in religious separation, political separation. Oh, I don't like that person because they're gay. I don't like that person because they identify as this. I don't like, and what happens is there's more poor whites fighting against liberation of poor black people, and vice versa in a lot of ways. That where you look at it like, yo, if you are from a rural white town that fancies itself to be racist and we don't like colors, that doesn't mean that this black person running for Congress isn't the best candidate for your district. And if we get to that space, you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to fuck with everybody. Everybody don't have to be friends and family and shit like that and party and interracial date and all that. We don't have to do none of that shit if you don't want to. But it's the idea that like identifying strictly on skin color, you know what I mean, is one of the biggest mishaps in the American political structure. Is because there's a lot of white people out there voting against themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're voting against their regimes. They're voting against like their family. They're voting against their pocketbook, and they're doing it because I don't like that colored guy. I don't like that gay lady. I don't like that so and so. You know what I'm saying? And that's the trap. Because if you're in certain areas and communities, you're not gonna integrate with other people to where there's a thing to where you can kind of like latch on to some identification. That's where growing up in multicultural areas benefits you. You can see the like identity in everybody, and you can see the like commonality. But if you're separated, it's easy to be like, oh well, I don't fuck with them guys. They don't think, I don't fuck with them. And I think that's what they play on. So if you made a party that's specified in these people, how do you lose? How do you lose?
So I feel like
it's 12, right?
I feel like that was a good place to end this one.
Y'all want to wrap it up right now? We could wrap it.
I feel like we're in a good. I feel like it was a good little spot to wrap it for today.
Well, we could wrap them, man.
So it's your boy Doc on. Got my nigga King to my right, my boy Dial to my left. We are the Always Talking Shit show.
That's a fact, man. Hey, if you can hear my voice, educate yourself on things that matter.
Go fucking vote. Amen to that. Amen. Educate yourself and fucking vote. Ain't no fucking change without us, period. And it only keeps playing itself like that.
Be active.
So.
And be safe, man. Please, be safe. We don't want no war, We gotta be smart. We gotta have a strategy with what we're trying to do, as far as I'm concerned.
And as always,
take care of each other.
Fuck how you feel.
Peace and love, man.
Respect.